Chosen one. Someone is sitting in darkness, not from a lack of light, but from the crushing weight of their mistake. A profound realization now burns within them. They regret the very day they tried to cross you, yet here you stand. Every scheme failed. The very act of crossing you has become their eternal regret, for it unleashed the unstoppable force of your divine purpose. You didn't just survive the crossing, you are now crossing over into the destiny they tried to steal. Here's where the turn happens that was never seen coming. Because there's a principle in the spiritual realm that got forgotten. It's called the resurrection principle, and it's simple but powerful. When you crucify someone chosen by God, death is never the final chapter, the tomb is never the ending, the cross is never the conclusion. Think about the greatest comeback ever documented. Betrayal happened, mockery happened, beating happened, crucifixion happened on a cross between criminals, insults got thrown, laughter filled the air. People said, if you're really who you say you are, save yourself. And then death came. The story looked finished, the mission looked failed, the movement looked over, but resurrection morning changed everything. The tomb was empty. Death couldn't hold what it tried to keep, and thousands of years later, we're still talking about that comeback. That's the blueprint. That's the pattern. That's what happens when you try to kill someone. Destiny has already marked, and chosen one. You're living that pattern right now. Yes, you hung there. Yes, you bore that weight. Yes, you walked through that valley that felt like death. But while you were in that tomb, while you were in that dark season, God wasn't sleeping. God was working. God was setting up the greatest comeback nobody saw coming. God was arranging chess pieces on a board nobody else knew existed. While you were carrying your cross, God was uncrossing everything twisted in your life. Every crooked path is being straightened. Every blocked door is swinging open. Every crossed-out name is being rewritten in permanent ink. Every boundary line drawn is being erased like it never existed. Think of someone who took your entire destiny and tangled it like a ball of yarn. Knots everywhere. Pull one strand and 5 more tighten. That's what the crossing did spiritually. Created chaos where there should have been clarity. Created confusion where there should have been flow. Created complications that made zero logical sense. But God specializes in untangling the impossible. God is the master uncrosser. And right now, strand by strand, knot by knot, your life is being restored to its original divine design. You're being uncrossed spiritually. That manipulation keeping you stuck at the crossroad is gone. That confusion about which way to turn is clearing. Those lose-lose options are being replaced with win-win choices. You're being freed from spiritual bondage you didn't even fully understand was there. You're being uncrossed relationally. Those people who removed your name are watching God connect you with people putting your name at the top of their lists. Those rooms you were excluded from are being replaced with new rooms where you're not just invited but the guest of honor. Those platforms you were denied are being replaced with your own, where people are desperate to hear what you have to say. You're being uncrossed financially. Those blocked opportunities are watching new streams open that can't be accessed by anyone else. That diverted money is being rerouted through channels nobody else knows about. That wealth you were told you'd never have is being released in ways that defy comprehension. You're standing on one side of a massive ocean. Everything you've dreamed of sits on the other side. Your destiny, your purpose, your promised land, it's right there. You can see it. But this ocean sits between you and it. Impossible to cross. No boat, no bridge, no wings. And that ocean got placed there intentionally. The declaration was made that you'd never cross those waters. You're stuck on this island, isolated from your future, separated from your inheritance. That was the curse. The boundary, the final word on your life. But chosen one, your God specializes in impossible crossings. Your God makes ways where there are no ways. Remember Moses at the Red Sea. Army behind him, ocean in front, no escape. It looked like the end, but God parted those waters and created a dry path through the impossible. and the very barrier meant to destroy them became their gateway to freedom. That's happening right now. That ocean placed in front of you is being parted. That impossible barrier is being removed. That permanent boundary is being erased. And you're about to walk through on dry ground while shock registers on watching faces. Those waters are parted right now. The path is clear right now. The way is open right now. This is your window, your moment, your crossing over point. Don't hesitate. Don't second guess. Don't wait for perfect conditions. The miracle is active. Walk through it now. Because when you reach the other side, when you step into everything you were told you'd never touch, those waters close back up. Nobody else is coming through. Nobody else gets access. Nobody else crosses over. From that moment forward, you're in a realm that can't be reached by those who tried to stop you, a level that can't be accessed, a dimension that can't be entered. And you're not crossing over empty-handed, you're carrying something that changes everything. It's called the Sword of Truth. This represents your voice, your clarity, your discernment, your boundaries, your power to cut through nonsense, your ability to separate yourself from anything that doesn't serve your highest evolution. The old version had no weapon, no defense, let people walk over boundaries, gave access to anyone who asked, dimmed light to make others comfortable, stayed quiet when roaring was needed. But you came out of that tomb armed. You rose from that valley with a double-edged sword in your hand. This sword cuts both ways. It cuts away dead weight, toxic relationships, limiting beliefs, false narratives, everything misaligned with your becoming. But it also cuts into new territory, opens new opportunities, breaks down barriers, destroys obstacles, creates paths that didn't exist before. Offensive and defensive, protecting and propelling. And this sword terrifies anyone who tried to cross you, because now you can expose, now you can reveal, now you can speak what was hidden, now you can bring light to dark places, now you can call things exactly what they are without softening or protecting feelings. The expectation was silence. The expectation was broken speech. The calculation never included you rising with this weapon. The calculation never included you finding your voice. If this resonates with your inner knowing, hype this video to help fellow chosen ones find their way here. Now let's talk about where you're stepping into. The powerhouse position, boss energy, top status, leader frequency. This is supplier mentality, provider mindset, the person with resources, with vision, with influence, who makes things happen, creates opportunities, builds empires, changes industries, impacts generations. Some of you have been quietly preparing, stacking skills, developing talents, gathering knowledge, building experience, making connections, saving resources, investing in yourself when nobody watched, working in the dark. Now you're stepping into light with everything you built. For some, ideas are already flowing, creativity bubbling, vision crystallizing. You know exactly what you're building, what you're creating, what you're launching, what you're starting. The path is clearing for execution. For some, money is already stacking, investments paying off, income streams opening, abundance flowing. You've been faithful with little, wise with what you had, patient through the process. Now you're being entrusted with much. This isn't just about money. This is authority, influence, impact, legacy, being the person in the room who makes decisions, who people trust with resources, who people partner with because you deliver results. And watching eyes are seeing this unfold, seeing you rise, seeing you level up, seeing you boss up. And it's destroying something internally in those who thought you'd stay down, because access is remembered, when calls could happen any time, when favors could be asked, when influence existed in your decisions. But now you're untouchable, protected, selective, discerning, exclusive, careful about who gets access to your time, energy, wisdom, resources. Now you operate at levels that can't be reached, move in circles that can't be entered, make decisions that can't be influenced. This is where regret lives. Access was lost, influence was lost, connection was lost. Partnership with your rise could have happened, but resistance was chosen instead. Team membership could have happened, but opposition was chosen. Celebration could have happened, but outside observation is the reality now. And here's where it gets even better. Remember how you were supposed to be stuck at a crossroad, choosing between different types of loss. God isn't giving you that. God is giving you options where every choice wins. Every path leads to abundance. Every decision leads to blessing. Every direction leads to fulfillment. Option 1. Be the single powerhouse. Independent boss. Self-made mogul. Build generational wealth solo. Create empires without needing others. Thrive in solitude. Enjoy freedom. Travel the world, invest in yourself without limits, leave inheritance for multiple generations. You can be that person. Happy, fulfilled, blessed beyond measure. Option 2. Be the balanced boss. Have the career and the family, business and committed partnership, success and children, money and meaningful relationships, empire and home. Have it all. Beautiful mornings, family experiences, legacy including not just money but memories, life full in every dimension. Both options are beautiful, both blessed, both available, both wins. You're not choosing between good and bad, you're choosing between good and great, between one type of success and another type of success. While misery was supposed to be your crossroad, God offers you abundance and abundance. While fear was supposed to paralyze, God gives you choices empowered by faith. While limitations were supposed to bind, God gives you unlimited possibilities. Now you're setting boundaries. Remember when a line was drawn saying you couldn't cross it? Your turn. You're establishing what will and won't be tolerated. This is sharp energy, astute vibration. No-nonsense frequency, saying no without guilt, cutting people off without explanation, protecting peace without apology, guarding energy without hesitation. Old patterns included people-pleasing, fear of disappointing others, saying yes when you meant no, giving everyone access, letting people drain you, manipulate you, guilt-trip you, take advantage of your kindness. New understanding knows better. Understands not everyone deserves access, recognizes energy vampires, sees through manipulation, isn't moved by guilt trips, doesn't care about disappointing people who never cared about respecting you. You're establishing boundaries around your time, around your energy, around your space, around your resources, and these boundaries aren't mean, protective, healthy, necessary, wise, ensuring what you're building doesn't get destroyed by people who don't value it, ensuring the peace you worked for doesn't get disturbed by people who thrive in chaos. Watching eyes are seeing these boundaries, testing them, pushing against them, trying guilt, trying manipulation, trying to make you feel bad for protecting yourself, but you're standing firm, not budging, not compromising, not apologizing, because these boundaries are the difference between staying blessed and losing blessings. Tables completely turned, script completely flipped, narrative completely changed. One moment outside looking in, next moment inside while others look in from outside. Nothing was supposed to be yours. Abundance flows. Isolation was the plan. Meaningful connections surround you. Broken was the goal. Wholeness is your reality. Silenced was the intention. Your platform exists. Forgotten was the desire. Unforgettable is the result. Divine irony, poetic justice, universe restoring balance, God showing off. And you're not the same person you were before the crossing happened. You're better, stronger, wiser, more discerning, more powerful, more confident, more grounded, more focused, more purposeful. If the crossing never happened, comfort might have remained. Complacency might have stayed. Comfort zones might have kept you. True strength might have stayed undiscovered. Full potential might have stayed untapped. Real voice might have stayed hidden. Actual calling might have stayed unentered. So the crossing became your catalyst. The betrayal became your breakthrough. The attack became your activation. The attempt to destroy you became what developed you. The effort to end you became the experience that elevated you. And their regret has layers to it. First layer is obvious. Losing you created a void, whether it was friendship, partnership, energy, contribution to their life. Something valuable got destroyed by their own hands. Now the absence is felt. That void, that empty space where you used to be. Nothing fills it. Nobody measures up. Second layer runs deeper. Underestimating you was the mistake. Looking at you revealed someone they thought could be controlled, manipulated, someone who would just take whatever got dished out. Weakness was seen where strength was actually being stored up. Silence was interpreted as lack, when wisdom was actually choosing its moment. Patience was mistaken for weakness, when strategy was actually being calculated. Complete misreading of who was being dealt with. Third layer cuts the deepest, creating their own opposition. You weren't against them initially. Competition wasn't your goal. Their downfall wasn't being plotted. Your own lane, your own thing, your own vision being built. But when the crossing happened, when the attack came, when destruction was attempted, something awakened that wouldn't have surfaced otherwise. Leveling up was forced. Reserves of strength you didn't know existed got tapped into. Think about it. If you had just been left alone, comfort might have remained, safe zones might have kept you, a level that didn't threaten might have been your ceiling. But restraint wasn't possible for them. The crossing had to happen. Bringing you down had to be attempted, and in doing so, the very thing feared got created, a version of you operating at a frequency that can't be touched. Their own nightmare got birthed. Now things are stacking for you, accelerating, multiplying. You're gaining momentum, and momentum changes everything. Think about a train starting to move. Slow at first, takes time, takes energy to overcome inertia. But once moving, once building speed, once gaining momentum, it becomes unstoppable. Can't just stop instantly. Even hitting brakes, it keeps going because of momentum. That's you right now. Been slowly building, gradually moving, steadily progressing, now reaching that point where momentum kicks in, where things happen faster, opportunities come quicker, results show up sooner. Things you invested in are about to pay off. Seeds you planted are about to sprout. Work you did in dark is about to be seen in light. You're accumulating wins in the exact areas where destruction was attempted. Your character was attacked. Now your reputation is stronger than ever. Isolation was the plan. Now genuine people who actually value you provide surrounding. Your money was blocked. Now abundance flows from sources that can't even be identified. Confusion was the goal. Now you move with clarity that has never been possessed by those who opposed you. The crossing was supposed to end your influence, damage you enough, tarnish you enough, hurt you enough that you just fade away into irrelevance. A cautionary tale was the desired outcome, a warning to others, someone people point to and say, see what happens when you step out of line. But chosen one, you became the opposite. You became the inspiration, the testimony, the evidence that crossing someone with divine backing is the worst move possible. Look, you already know the attacks weren't random. And if you're paying attention, you can feel it. Their walls are closing in. So let's talk about what we're doing about it. That's why I built Destiny Engine. It generates personalized sequences that help you rewire betrayal into transcendence, turn isolation into sacred power, and transform their downfall into your rise. We are using the Dark Elite's own weapons against them, taking their declassified consciousness technology that programmed competition and scarcity and repurposing it to serve cooperative intelligence. The beauty is, you don't even have to lift a finger. You put on the headphones, press play, and your subconscious is rewired while your enemies collapse under the weight of their own lies. This is why I created it in the beginning, so everything they did to break you becomes fuel for your purpose. The collective upgrade is underway. Start your Destiny Engine for $1 today and watch divine justice accelerate in your life. Link in the description. And something powerful is happening in the spiritual realm right now that you need to understand. The blockages that were placed on you are being transferred. The confusion that was sent your way has boomeranged back to the sender with multiplied force. Wake up happens now without knowing which way to turn. Decisions get made that backfire immediately. Forward movement attempts hit walls everywhere. The spiritual interference directed at you has returned home with compound interest. You're experiencing acceleration while stagnation happens elsewhere. You're experiencing multiplication while subtraction occurs elsewhere. You're experiencing expansion while contraction manifests elsewhere. You're experiencing open doors while closed windows appear elsewhere. The contrast couldn't be more stark. The reversal couldn't be more complete. The justice couldn't be more divine. And here's what intensifies the regret even further. Attempts to replicate what you're doing keep failing. Watching you succeed in an area triggers copying your moves, but it doesn't work. Watching you launch something triggers doing the same thing, but it flops. Watching you connect with certain people triggers networking the same way, but those doors don't open. Because what isn't understood is that your success isn't just about strategy. Your elevation isn't just about tactics. Your breakthrough isn't just about timing. There's divine favor on your life that can't be duplicated. There's supernatural backing on your journey that can't be mimicked. There's heavenly approval on your path that can't be faked. There's spiritual clearance for your destiny that can't be manufactured. So every move can be studied, and failure still happens. Every step can be copied, and falling still occurs. Every action can be imitated, and stuck still remains the reality. Because chosen one, you have something that can't be obtained through imitation. You have God's hand on your life. You have divine protection around your vision. You have spiritual authorization for your destiny. This drives the regret even deeper into places that can't find relief. Not only was access to you lost, but becoming you is impossible. Not only was connection thrown away, but recreating what you're creating can't happen. Not only were you crossed out, but crossing into the realm you're occupying has no entry point. Stuck watching is the reality. Stuck regretting is the experience. Stuck wondering how everything went so wrong while everything goes so right for you is the daily torment. You're sleeping better. Your rest is deeper. Your dreams are clearer. The anxiety that used to grip you in the middle of the night has lifted. The heaviness that used to sit on your chest when you woke up is gone. The dread that used to fill your mornings has been replaced with anticipation. This isn't coincidence. This is evidence that spiritual chains have been broken. You're thinking clearer. The fog that used to cloud your judgment has dissipated. The confusion that used to make simple decisions feel impossible has vanished. The second guessing that used to paralyze you has been replaced with certainty. The doubt that used to whisper in your ear has been silenced. This is what happens when spiritual interference gets removed. This is what happens when you get uncrossed. You're feeling lighter. The weight you were carrying that had no physical source has been lifted. The burden you couldn't explain to anyone because it wasn't logical has disappeared. The exhaustion that sleep couldn't fix has been healed. The drain on your energy that made no sense has been stopped. This is divine restoration. This is supernatural renewal. This is what happens when God intervenes in the unseen realm on your behalf, and your life is starting to flow again. Opportunities that were stuck are moving. Conversations that were stalled are progressing. Relationships that were stagnant are developing. Projects that were blocked are advancing. Money that was held up is releasing. This isn't just good luck. This isn't just better timing. This is the direct result of spiritual uncrossing. This is what happens when boundary lines get erased. Watch what happens when limitations get removed. Watch what happens in your creative spaces. Ideas are flowing like never before. Solutions are appearing that you weren't even seeking. Inspiration is hitting you at random moments. Innovation is bubbling up from places you didn't know existed in you. This is your mind operating without interference. This is your creativity functioning without blockage. This is your genius emerging without suppression. Watch what happens in your relational spaces. The right people are showing up at the right time. Connections are being made that feel divinely orchestrated. Conversations are happening that change your entire trajectory. Introductions are occurring that open doors you didn't even know you needed opened. This is divine networking. This is supernatural alignment. This is heaven connecting you with your destiny helpers. Watch what happens in your financial spaces. Income is increasing from expected sources. Money is appearing from unexpected sources. Opportunities for increase are presenting themselves repeatedly. Ideas for generating wealth are downloading into your consciousness. Resources are being attracted to you like a magnet. This is divine provision. This is supernatural abundance. This is what happens when financial blockages get removed. And chosen one, understand something profound about this season you're in. You're not just being restored to where you were before the crossing. You're being upgraded to where you were always meant to be. You're not just getting back what was taken. You're receiving what was always yours but held in reserve. You're not just recovering from what happened. You're discovering capacities that the crossing actually activated. The pressure you endured crushed something out of you that couldn't have emerged any other way. The pain you experienced birthed a version of you that comfort could never have produced. The attack you survived developed a strength in you that ease could never have built. The crucifixion you went through activated a resurrection power in you that normal life could never have revealed. So when people look at you now, confusion registers on their faces because you're not exhibiting the trauma symptoms expected. You're not displaying the bitterness anticipated. You're not showing the brokenness predicted. You're not manifesting the defeat projected. Instead, you're radiating power. You're exuding confidence. You're emanating peace. You're demonstrating strength, and it doesn't make sense to natural observation, but it makes perfect sense in the spiritual realm, because what was meant to destroy you actually developed you. What was designed to end you actually elevated you. What was intended to break you actually built you. What was calculated to stop you actually strengthened you. This is the mystery of divine reversal. This is the power of spiritual jujitsu. This is what happens when God takes your enemy's weapons and turns them into your tools. And the regret that's being experienced isn't just about losing you, it's about creating the very monster that was feared. You weren't a threat before. You were comfortable, accessible, manageable, but the crossing changed all that. The attack transformed all that. The betrayal evolved all that. Now you're operating at a level that can't be managed. Now you're moving with a power that can't be controlled. Now you're building with a vision that can't be stopped. This is what keeps certain people up at night. This is what creates the anxiety. This is what generates the regret, because hindsight is showing them clearly what foresight should have revealed. Crossing you was the catalyst for your greatest transformation. Attacking you was the trigger for your most powerful activation. Betraying you was the key that unlocked your highest potential. Watch this. Every room you were meant to be kept out of now calls you into bigger rooms. Every conversation you were excluded from now positions you, leading conversations that actually matter. Every opportunity that was blocked now positions you, creating opportunities from scratch that dwarf what was tried to be kept from you. This isn't just about getting what was tried to be taken. This is about surpassing what was ever thought possible for you. Now you're being repositioned, not just physically or professionally, but spiritually, being moved from the back to the front, from the sidelines to center stage, from the waiting room to the main room, from the margins to the middle. And this repositioning is permanent. Pushing you to the back was attempted. Keeping you in shadows was the plan. Making you invisible was the goal. Reducing your presence was desired. Minimizing your voice was intended. Shrinking your influence was expected. But God said, not on my watch. God said, this one belongs to me. God said, you touched the wrong person. So now you're being positioned in places never imagined you'd reach. Being seated at tables thought you'd never access. Being given authority assumed you'd never possess. Being handed resources believed you'd never control. Being granted influence convinced you'd never have. And the regret multiplies because you're not just succeeding. You're succeeding in spaces thought to be owned by others, thriving in rooms thought to be controlled by others, excelling in areas thought to be dominated by others. Your presence in these spaces reminds constantly of the terrible decision to cross you. This isn't just about recovering what was lost. This isn't just about getting back to where you were. This is about discovering dimensions of your calling you never knew existed, accessing levels of your purpose you never knew were available, stepping into versions of yourself you never knew were possible. The crossing was painful, the crucifixion was brutal, the valley was dark, but it broke something open that couldn't have opened any other way, revealed capacities that wouldn't have surfaced otherwise, unleashed gifts that might have stayed dormant forever, activated dimensions of your anointing that required that level of pressure to emerge. So when eyes watch you now, observation isn't of someone who just recovered. Observation is of someone who transformed, not just someone who survived, someone who evolved, not just someone who made it through. Someone who came out different, better, stronger, wiser, more powerful than before. And this transformation is what haunts the regret, because if you had just recovered, minimizing could have happened. If you had just survived, downplaying could have occurred. If you had just made it through, impact could have been dismissed. But you transformed, you evolved, you became someone who can't be ignored, can't be dismissed, can't be minimized. You became living proof that their worst couldn't stop your best, walking evidence that their hate couldn't stop your destiny, breathing testimony that their schemes couldn't stop God's plans. And every day you wake up and walk in that truth, their regret grows heavier. Now here's something crucial you need to embrace. You're not the same person who got crossed. That version is gone, dead, buried in that tomb you rose out of. The person who got crossed doesn't exist anymore. A new you emerged from that resurrection. An upgraded you stepped out of that wilderness. An elevated you walked through those parted waters. This means apologies can't reach the old version because the old version is gone. Regret can't manipulate the old version because the old version doesn't exist. Attempts to reconnect can't work on the old version because the old version has been replaced by someone who knows their worth, guards their peace, and protects their purpose. The new you has standards the old version didn't have. The new you has boundaries the old version didn't enforce. The new you has discernment the old version didn't exercise. The new you has wisdom the old version didn't possess. The new you has power the old version didn't walk in. You're about to encounter people who will value what was tried to be destroyed, about to meet individuals who will honor what was tried to be diminished, about to connect with souls who will celebrate what was tried to be suppressed, about to build with others who will protect what was tried to be attacked. These new connections will show you what you were missing. These new relationships will reveal what you were settling for. These new partnerships will demonstrate what genuine support looks like. These new alignments will prove what real love feels like. Your story is going to be told. Your journey is going to inspire. Your testimony is going to encourage people you haven't even met yet. People are going to look at where you came from and where you ended up and know that miracles are real, that comebacks are possible, that God still moves on behalf of chosen ones. Just like we still talk about resurrection thousands of years later, people will talk about your comeback for generations, in your family, your community, your circle, your industry. Your story will be legendary. Your resilience will be remembered. Your strength will be celebrated. Your victory will be referenced. And the person who crossed you is a footnote in your story. The obstacle you overcame, the opposition you defeated, the challenge that made you stronger. Not the main character. You are not the hero. You are not the legend. You are. So as you step into this new season, crossing over into your future, understand you're walking in different energy, operating at different frequency, moving at different altitude. Crucifixion season over, resurrection season here. Crossing over moment arrived. You're not who you were, you're who you're becoming. not where you were. You're where you're going, not what was said about you. You're what God says about you, not limited by their boundaries, empowered by God's possibilities. You are chosen, protected, favored, blessed, rising, unstoppable, legendary. Nothing and nobody can take that away, because it was given by the Most High before you were born. Regret is being lived with by those who crossed you. You live with purpose. Consequences are being dealt with. You experience blessings. Karma is being faced. You walk in destiny. Past is their prison. Future is your freedom. Welcome to your new reality. Welcome to your powerhouse position. Welcome to your legendary legacy. Welcome to the life you were told you'd never have. Welcome to the success you were told you'd never achieve. Welcome to the happiness you were told you'd never find. Welcome to the peace you were told you'd never know. You made someone regret crossing you, but more importantly, you made yourself proud of who you became through it all. Made God proud of how you trusted. Made your future self grateful you didn't give up. That's the real victory, the real breakthrough, the real resurrection. The crossing is complete. The resurrection is real. The legend has begun. And regret will haunt those who tried to stop you for the rest of their lives while you enjoy the life that was tried to be prevented. This is your story, chosen one. Own it, live it, love it. Never let anyone make you forget who you are and whose you are.